Hello friends, in this video we'll discuss about file and file handling in Python. Okay, so first of all we should know what is file, then we'll discuss about the file handling. So in a file we store data permanently. In a file we store data permanently. So how you can store data in computer? Suppose already we know the CPU memory hierarchy. This is what our CPU. Okay, cache memory is there, cache memory level 1, primary memory is there, it is also called RAM. Okay, and the secondary memory is there, it is also called hard disk. Okay, now here also registers are there, and cache level internal cache memory is also there, and the connection lies there. Now we can store data in cache, in register, in RAM, and in hard disk also. But if you store data in primary memory, cache, everything, if the power goes off, then the data will be lost. Okay, we lose the data. But if we keep our data in hard disk, then we can retain the data after even if power is not there. Okay, so to store data permanently, definitely file must be present in the secondary memory. But to work on that particular data, we have to load particular data first into the primary memory. Then only we can use that particular data. Okay, so suppose a file is there. Suppose a file is there. Okay, and name of the file is myfile.txt. Okay, so if that particular file is there where we can store the data, okay, we can store the information data. So in this particular file, if the file is, suppose we want to store something. So first of all, we have to open it, we have to create it. If the file name is not there, we have to create it. Otherwise, if you want to store something, or if you retrieve something, first of all, we have to load the data, we have to open the data, so that we can first transfer from hard disk to RAM, then we can use it. Okay, and after we have to close it, means what? We have to permanently have to save it. Are you getting my point? So types of files, there are two types of files, generally text files and binary files. What is text file? In text file, we store character data. Okay. And in binary file, we store the binary data like image, video, audio, etc. Okay. So in text file, generally the extension should be used .txt, .csv, like this way. Okay. Now, so this is what our file. Now our task is to handle all these files properly in Python. Now basic tasks are there. Basic tasks are what? Open a file, close a files, write the files means storing data, append means what? Merging data, reading a file, that means display the data, read the content of the file, and delete. Delete the data means what? Delete the file forever from the memory. Okay, so open, close, write, append, read, and delete. So first of all is opening a file. First content is what? Opening a file. So first of all, you can see. So what is opening a file? Before performing any operation like read or write on the file, first we have to load or open that file into the memory. So first of all, we have to load it. That means we have to transfer data from hard disk to primary memory if the file is already exist, or if the file is not there, we have to open it, we have to create it, and we have to load it. Then and only you can use that particular file. So here we use Python's inbuilt function open. Okay, so to load it, we have to write the inbuilt function open. Okay, and moreover, we also have to specify the mode which represent the purpose of the opening file. So here open, here we have to put the file name. Okay, we have to put the file name. If that particular file is we want to store, or the already for that file is there in the working directory, current working directory, and we have to identify the mode. The mode may be the W mode, read mode, X mode, exclusive mode. Okay, So open, and this is our function. So it will create one object, and we just say it is the name of the object is opened file. So it is opened file. Uh, uh, so this is what a function. We are passing two parameters, file name as well as the mode. Mode may be W, R, and X, and here we put the file name. File name may be myfile.txt or student.csv, like this way. Acha. Sometimes file may be somewhere different place. So in that case, we have to specify the path of the file. Okay, and here you have to put the R. R indicates that this is not a raw index, raw text. It is the path of any file, and definitely we have to put the mode here also. And that particular function will create object, that is the, we can say temp file or opened file, or you can give any name. Okay, is it okay? So we'll see the different we see different modes. So different modes are there. Say W modes. If the file is exist, so it will overwrite, or if the file is doesn't exist, so it will create a file. W file for reading or writing, and for exist file it will content will be overwritten. A is what? It is for file for writing, and if the file is created, if doesn't exist, the new data will be appended after the existing content. The new data will append. And X is what? Create a file if doesn't exist, return an error if the file exists. So we can see the differences. So suppose one particular file is there. Suppose this is what our RAM, and this is what our secondary memory. Okay, so when we write W, suppose one file is there, name of the file is say myfile.txt. This is what our myfile.txt. This is what our file, and here the content say A, B, C, D. It is written that A, B, C, D. Now, if you mention the W, that means what? We want to erase this particular part when we have to load the new content. Okay, and if you mention A, after that it will not create, it will not erase the content. If the file is not there, it will create. If the file is already there, it will append the data, new data, say X, Y, Z. It will not delete the old content A, B, C, D. That is called appending. And X is what? Create a file if doesn't exist and return error message. Now suppose my file.txt is already there, and we want to recreate. We want to create a new file. That's name. The name of the file is that myfile.txt. It will return an error. But if you want to create a file which is not already there, then it will easily you can create it. So these are the purpose of W, A, X. So we'll use this W, A, and X. Sometimes we use R also, that is for reading purpose. Okay, now we can see the example, first example. So we can see open myfile.txt.w. So name of the file is myfile.txt. W for writing, okay, and it will create an object open file. Okay, now here we can see here, we can execute it. Now for the time being, we can remove it and see the output. Now you can see here myfile.txt is not there. So once we click it, once we run it, it will create one file that is called, we can see here, if we run it, it will create one file that is myfile.txt, and here nothing is there, definitely. And this is what, in this way we can create it, and after creating that particular file we have to close it. Okay, so after completing our operation on the file, we close the files. The syntax is what? That object name, okay, and dot close. So the name of the object name is what? Open file. So we have to write open file dot close, and if you execute it, now we can now the file is closed. Okay, now see, we can see this is what open file. Now suppose we want to apply that .x mode. Okay, in this case we use the same, say we can write open file 1, here it is open file 2, and here open file my file underscore 1 dot txt mode is x, and this is what my file dot txt. Now this file is already there. Okay, but this file is not there. You can see here my file is there, but my file underscore 1 is not there. So if you want to create this particular file using mode x, then no problem. But if you want to use same file name like this, then there will be a problem. So you can see, if you execute it, we can see here there is an exception, file exists error. It will execute one exception. This one file exists error, and we can, so definitely we cannot. But we have seen that now. You can see my file underscore dot txt is file already there. So it is okay, because since that my file underscore 1 txt file is not there in the file, in the folder, but that file was already there, so it is not possible to recreate. We cannot create a file with same name if the mode is x. Okay, so to handle such type of situation, we have to use exception. We may use exception. Okay, now here we can write, we can use this particular, you can see here open file. Okay, open file my file underscore 2, it is okay, the file is created. Now first time no problem. Okay, my first time, because my file underscore 2, nothing is there. But second time, once you want to execute the same time, then it will create an error. That file is already there. So you can see here, so there is no problem. Okay, file is created. We can see my file underscore 2, it is created. My file underscore 2 is, it is created. Okay, now if you want to delete it, now if you want to recreate it, then it will print file is already exist. You can see here. Okay, the file is already exist. So to handle such type of situation, we may use try and except. Is it okay? So this is what opening a file. So better, it will better to mention like this way, and definitely we have to close it. Okay, so open file is there, open file is there, we have to close it, so better to close it. Okay, so remember one thing, opening a file, after opening that particular file, we have to close it. Next we discuss about details information related to file. Sometimes we need to know the detailed information of a stored file. Suppose one file is there. Okay, suppose one file is there, name of the file is a temp file, temporary file, and we want to the name of that particular file. So we have to write temp file dot name. We want to know the mode. Okay, so whether it is W or R, or we want to check whether it is readable or not. If it is readable, it will return true, otherwise it will return false. And if it is writable, if you write the temp file dot writable, if it is writable, it will return true, otherwise it will return false. Check whether the file is closed or not, that we can do. So we'll see one by one all the operations. Now we can see here already we have a file called myfile.txt. You can see here one file is there, myfile.txt, and we want to know the name of the file. Okay, so first of all we have to open the file. So you can see here opened file is equal to open, within bracket we have to mention the file name, and here we set the R means it is readable. So what we can do, we can first of all we can open it. Okay, we can open it and it will create an object. So open file, and to know the name of the file we have to write open.name. To know name of the file mode we have to write open.file.made. Is the file readable? So it will be better if you can post some put some question mark. If the file is readable, yes, true or false. If the file is writable, is the file closed? Okay, so here also you can put one question mark, or we here is the file is closed. Once again we can put say same thing to check whether the file is open or closed. Now we want to execute it, so we can execute it. So if you execute it, you can see here What is the name of the file? File name is what? myfile.txt. File mode, it is write, readable, or is file readable? True. Is file readable? Yes, true. Is file writable? No, it is a false. Okay. Next, is file closed? No, because it is open, still opens. Now, after applying this open file dot close, if you re-execute the same instruction, now the output will be what? It is true. Okay. So now if you change to, now instead of R, if you set to W, okay, and if you execute it, so you can see here, file name myfile.txt, file mode is W. Is the file readable? We put the output is false. Is the file writable? It is true. Is file closed? Generally, first time it is closed. First time it is false, and after closing it, the output definitely it will be true. So I will upload all the programs, all the files inside the GitHub, and just download it, and you can change it. You can see instead of W, you just put X, and you can see the differences. Now, writing data to the text file. Suppose you want to store something. Here you can see nothing, myfile.txt, nothing is there. So what you can do, we want to store something. So suppose here, here we have mentioned opened file, open myfile.txt w. So the name of the file is what? myfile.txt. Okay. And the name of the object is what? Opened file. So opened file dot write. Okay. And here dot write is nothing but the method of that particular object. And in that particular method, we're passing the message, love your enemies and how are you. Okay. And definitely after open, you have to close it. Okay. This is what here we just write something. We want to write something. So here it is what? Temp.file. File, okay, object of that particular file dot write, and here you have to pass the content to save. So here we want to save love your enemies, how are you, and here we can say write like this way. So and this particular part is to display the content of the file. So definitely in that case also we have to open it, and it is readable mode, and we want to print the content of the file. That's we have to write open.file.read. So that means what? It will print the content of the file. Okay, and definitely after that you have to close it. So we can execute it and we can see the output. We can see the output, love your enemies and how are you. Okay, and we can see the file myfile.txt. Here the output is love your enemies and how are you. Okay, so it is easily we can store it. We can put it. Now, can you add one more data here? Suppose we want to here we want to store the academician. So how to is it okay? The academician. Okay, and we want to re-execute it. So here, love your enemies, how are you? The academician. Now you want to see the output, myfile.txt. Here you can see, love your enemies, how are you? And the academician. So in this we can store the data. Okay, acha, here, can we put /n? If you put /n, so then what will output? Is it okay? And what will be the output? If you now you want to see here, now you can see here, love your enemies, how are you? Then the academician. So in this way we can change according to that, we will get the output. Now if you put something T, if you put T tab, and what will be the output? Is it okay? Now you can see the space is there in between that these two lines. Okay, so in this way we can create it and we can store the data, and definitely we can read the content of the file. So okay, now append the content of the file. See, in that particular file already, in my file, these two lines are already there. Now we want to store some more information. Okay, so definitely first of all we have to open the file, and here mode of the file is what? It is A mode, append mode, and here we want to store 3 lines: goodwill hunting, the pursuit of happiness, and Coach Carter. After writing, we can print that particular content, data written to the file successfully, and definitely we have to close it. So first of all, we have to open it. We have to append the content of the, we want to append more information. Okay. and here we may print that data written to this file successfully, and we definitely have to close. So we have seen here we put /n so that we want to append as a new line. Okay, and we want to execute it. You can see the file name. File name what? myfile.txt, and in that particular file you can see here myfile.txt. Only these two lines are there. Okay, now we want to execute now. Now after execute it will print the data written to the file successfully. And if you see myfile.txt, you can see here. After that, it will print goodwill hunting. It will store goodwill hunting, the pursuit of happiness, and coach cutter. Okay. Now if you re-execute it, it will re-append it. So you can see here myfile.txt. You can see here. Okay, so in this way we can append the content. Are you getting my point? Now if you re-execute it now, definitely, and if you read the content, you can see here. Okay, are you getting my point? So in this way we can append the data. So later let's reduce the size of the file because we need something for that, and save it. Okay. Next, reading character data from the text file. Okay, we want to read the data text file. So different options are there. Here we have seen 4 options: to read the complete file, to read only first n character, to read data line by line, and to read all lines into list. Okay, so we just see all the options one by one. Okay, now here we can see open the file. Definitely we have to, first of all, you have to open the file. Name of the file is myfile.txt and it is readable. Okay, and here open file.read, it returns the content of the data, and the content of that particular file will store in the data, and we want to print that particular data. Are you getting my point? So here function name is what? Function name is open. Function is open. Here we are passing 2 things, and it will create an object. The name of the object is what? Opened file. In this particular object, we connect with the read. That particular read will return the content of the file. Okay, and that content of the file will store into the data, and we display that particular content of the data. That is nothing but we want to display content of the file. Are you getting my point? And definitely after opening it, you have to close it. And if you execute it, we can see the output. So if you can execute it, you can see the output. Love your enemies. How are you? The academician, goodwill hunting, the pursuit of happiness, and coach Carter. Is it okay? So in this way, we can read the complete file by single shot. Now suppose we want to read something. Okay, not all the characters. We need some portion of the file. So definitely in this case also we have to open the file. Okay, and we have to pass the read. We have to execute the read. Here we have to pass the number of characters we want to read. Suppose we want to read only first 5 characters. Okay, and we want to execute it. Now you can see here first 5 means what? We can see here love your enemies. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and space. Okay. Now suppose we want to read love your. So number of characters should be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So here you have to put 9. So if you put 9 here, so it will print what? It will print love your. It will print love your. Are you getting my point? Similarly, if you want to print the say how many characters are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. 31. If you put 31 here, then we can see the output. You can execute it. Now, if it is 32 also, it will print the same. Okay, because till 1 it is 30, 31, this part is the 32, this is 32. Okay, now suppose you want to execute this t, so here you have to mention 33. So if you mention 33, it will print the t also, associated t also. So 33 is not coming, 34, now you can see the t. So that means till it is up to that it is 33, and this one is the 34. Okay, now you want to read the whole d, so 34, 35, 36. Here you have to mention 36. And if you execute it, we can see that. So in this way, we can read the first n character. Okay, next. To read the data line by line. Suppose we want to read the data line by line. In that case, what we can see? We can see, first of all, definitely we have to open it. Okay, and name of the file is what? myfile.txt, and the mode is R. First line is what? Open file.read line. The instruction is what? Read line. So in line number 1, it will print the line number 1. Next, if you execute the same time, it will print the second line. If you execute the third, it will print the third line, and so on. Okay, so if you execute it, we can see first line is what? Love your enemies and how are you? Second line is the academician, and third line is goodwill hunting. Okay, so in this way we can read the file line by line. So definitely the instruction is what? Dot line, read line. Now instead of doing this one, what we can do? We can use the loop. Inside that loop also we can execute. Suppose we want to execute first 3 line, and if you execute it, now it is what? Love your enemies, the academician, and the goodwill hunting. Suppose we want to read first 4 lines. So definitely four lines are there. So here we can mention the number of lines we want to read. So total I think 5 lines are there. So 5 lines we can do. 5 lines we can execute. What happened if you put the another one? 6. And see the output. So nothing is there. Range 6, 7, now 10. Okay, so no problem. Okay, easily you can do it. Easily you can execute it. So I think it will print, it is printing the blank space also. You can check. Suppose if it is 7. So is it there? No, yeah. Here it is. Here you can see here. How many lines are there total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these 2 lines are for line number 6 and line number 7. Okay, are you getting my point? So this way also you can do it. So here it is say 4 and or 2, and we can see the output. Is it okay? So make it. I need to upload it. GitHub, inside the GitHub, and we can re-execute it. No problem. Now to read all lines into list. Suppose we want to read all the lines. So definitely first of all we have to open the file. Mandatory, we have to pass the file name and it is readable. And here lines is equal to open file dot read lines. Here you can see one s is there. You can see if you don't put s, it will print line by line. If you put s here, so it will print all the lines at a time. Okay, and here we can definitely, what will happen, you can do one thing. If you better to do this one and print the line, print the line, L-I-N-E-S. Okay, and here it is, you can build lines. Can you execute it? Yeah, you can execute. Now you can see here content of the lines. This is nothing but our content of the lines. Okay, love your enemies /n, the academician. So here you can see the comma. So it is a list. It is in the list form. So that's why if you execute properly, if you want to execute properly, so we have to execute loop using loop. So line in lines. So it will take line all the lines one by one and it will print. So better to do one thing. Here we can make it comment line and reactivate it and execute it. Now you can see the output. Okay, so in this way we can read all the lines at a time. But here we can, using dot read line, we can read one by one. Here we can read all the lines at a time. Next, here um, it's okay. Next, delete a file. Suppose we want to delete a file. So how to delete this one? So definitely we need to input a package named OS, operating system, and we have to apply os.remove, then file name we want to remove. So remember one thing, to remove something we have to close that file first. Okay, then and only we can delete the file error free. So we want to delete that file. Name of the file is what? myfile.txt. The content is, this is the content. And if you want to delete it, definitely we can do this one. So import OS, input, enter a file name. Suppose we want to enter file name using keyboard and F, and open. We have to open that particular file. Okay, and that file should be in readable form because we want to delete it. Now, if the file is already closed, then no problem. If the file is already closed, then you can remove it and the file is removed. But if the file is not closed, then first of all close that particular file and then remove it, and then we can print the file is removed. Are you getting my point? So you can execute now. That particular file is already the myfile.txt, and if you execute it, and here if you write myfile.txt and if you execute it, the file is removed. Okay, so first of all you can see the output. Here you can see, here it is, dot is there, here dot is there. That means executing this particular part. That means it will execute the else part. Are you getting my point? So before removing that, first of all we have to close it, then and only we can do this one. Or instead of doing everything, what you can do, just don't do anything. Okay, don't check anything, just we can write open it before suppose a.txt. It will not print anything. So that means what, a.txt is there and we can create it, and we want to remove it a.txt. So first of all what you can do, we can first of all you just close the file. Okay, you just close the file and we can remove it. Instead of checking, we can apply anything. So here we have to put a.txt. So the file name is what, a.txt. You can see that a.txt is already there, and if you execute it, we can see the file is removed. Okay, now you can see here that a is vanished, a is not there. Okay, so in this way we can use this one. So better to put in a comments line, set that comments line, and here to enable it. Okay, so we can check it first. Initially you can check it, or instead of without checking, you just first check whether it is closed or open and then remove it. Are you getting my point? Okay, next see here, we can deleting a file. Another example is there. Suppose we want to delete myfile.txt. Okay, so if that particular file is there, if that particular file is present, then first of all close that particular file, then remove that particular file. Here you just mention the file name, okay, and then you can print the file is removed. Okay, so we can see here whether it is working or not, it will work or not. So my file is not there, so first of all we have to create it. Okay, and we have to enter some data. So here we can create it. Now it is created. So you can see here myfile.txt. Here three values are there, and here we want to re-execute it to check whether it is possible or not. Now here myfile.txt is there already there, we want to execute it. Okay, and the file is removed. That means here it will check whether my first time my file.txt is there or not. If it is there, that means it is true. That means it will enter into that particular else part. First of all, close it, then remove it. Okay, and then it will print the content, the file is removed. This one. But if the file is not there, then it will execute the else part. It will print the file doesn't exist. So you can see here whether my file is there or not. So here you can see my file is not there. Okay. So if you re-execute it, it will print the file does not exist. You can see here the file does not exist. Okay. So in this way we can remove the files. Next, very important concept is that the with statement. So in that case, automatically we can close the file. Okay, so we can see the example. Suppose one file is there. That file is what? myfile.txt. Okay, and here we want to create that if that it is in W mode. If the file is there, it is okay. If the file is not there, definitely it will create the file first, and it will store some information. 3 lines are there: the Sasang redemption, the true man show, no country for old men. And after that, definitely you have to close it. And then you have to check, sorry, you have to check whether that file is closed or not. And after finishing that, we want to re-execute that same instructions and we want to see the output. Okay, now we can see here myfile.txt is not here. Okay, and if you execute it, we can see my file is there or not. We can see, you can check once again, you can execute it. And we want to see that, yeah, myfile.txt is there. Okay, and here we can see the lines one by one. So here in that particular case, is file closed? Is file closed? It is false. But when it is outside of that with statement, so that and the output is what? It is true. That means what? With statement automatically close that file. So it's a very useful. It's a very useful. Instead of writing open and close, using with, we can open that particular file and we can store the data. We can delete the data and we can do anything. Are you getting my point? Next, the tail and seek method. The tail function fetches the current cursor or file pointer position from the beginning of the file. Remember this one. Note that the initial characters location or index is 0 in a file, like in strings. Okay. So suppose one line is there. So that particular file first position index should be 0. Okay, it is the starting point is 0. It is not 1. So the tail method is what? So here definitely we have to mention the file name, then dot tail. So it will return the current location. Now we can see the output. Now here we can see what is the content of the myfile.txt. This is the content. Okay, the Sasang redemption, the true man show, and the no country for old men. And here we just first see the program first. So here we apply the open. Okay, name of the file, it is in reading mode. Content of the file is what? Definitely open.file, it will return the content of the file, and here we print the content of the file. The definitely output is what? This is the output. I need this particular portion to explain the next program, actual tail and seek program. That's why I re-execute it. Now we can see this particular portion. Okay, so here we can see first of all we have to open the file and we have to execute the tail. So the first is what? Index is what? 0. Here it is 0. So it is, we can see that the SHAWSANK redemption REDEMPTION, and the true man so, and no country for this. So initially it is starting address is for 0 1 2, then 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 2. Okay, So first of all, the tail means what? It will return 0. Then read the first 5. First 5 means what? Till S. 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So till S, total how many characters are there? 0 to 4, it is 5. So that's why read S, it will print the S, till S. Then it will print the tail. Tail means what? It will print the next index. That is what? Fifth one. That's why the output is what? It is 5. Okay. Here the output is what? 5. Next, read the next 3 lines. Next 3 lines means what? 5, 6, 7. HAW. Okay. So it will print HAW, and the next pointer is what? 8. This one. So that's why if you execute the tail, the output is what? It is 8. Are you getting it? So it's a very important. Means we very much we need this tail and seek and tail instructions. Okay, is it okay? So in this way, through tail we can say the current position, current cursor position we can identify. Okay. Similarly, suppose we want to see the seek method. Okay, for the same data. So here we can see the seek function is used to relocate the cursor. We want to relocate that file pointer. Okay, syntax is file name dot seek and pointer location or pointer position. So definitely same example we can see. So in that particular example, the first position is what? Just to this one. Okay. Now open same file. The position of the first time it is what? Tail is what? Definitely it is 0. This one, you just take another color, 0. Okay. And read the first 5. The S 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The S till this one. Now read the content of the current location. 5 definitely. After 4 it is 5. Now open file dot seek 7. That means what? Relocate to 7. Means instead of 5 it will change to this location 7. Using which? Using seek instruction. Okay, and if you re-execute the tail part, it will return the 7. Are you getting my point? So in this way, we can relocate the pointer. Achha. Now do one thing. Can you execute the same line once again, and we want to see the output? So instead of 7, what if it is a 3? So it is a third location, or it is the 7 plus 3. You want to see, want to check. Now you can see here. So definitely, so that value, this is from the 0 every time. So this 7 means what? From 0 to 7. 3 means what? From 0 to 3. Are you getting my point? And for 0, so for 3, it should be from 0 to 3. So the position of the last time is what? So the position is what? It is 3. That means seek here, the seek and the content, the value is nothing but the starting from 0 to that particular point, 3. It is not that 7 plus 3. Are you getting my point? So you can check it, you can play it with your program. So different options are there. You can check one by one. How to check if a file exists or not? How to check whether the file present is there or not? Suppose here the file name is what? myfile.txt is there. Okay. And we want to see that particular file is there or not. So definitely, how to check? We can check by this particular instruction os.path.isFile, and we can put the file name. So here we need these two packages, OS and system. First of all, we have to enter the file name using keyboard, and we have to check os.path.isFile, that name. Here you have to pass the file name. If it is true, then it will print the file exists and name of the file, and it can open it, and it will print the content of the file. And if this is false, that means that the file is not there. It will print file doesn't exist. Which file? The name of that file which you have entered it through keyboard. Are you getting my point? So it's a very, very useful os.path.isFile. It's a very useful instructions. So we can execute it. So here you can execute it. Now put the name of the file, say my file dot txt. We can see here content. Yeah, the file exists and the content is what? This is the content. We can check because already there that my file dot txt is there, but a dot txt is not there, and we want to execute once again. Suppose a dot txt. I can see file doesn't exist. Okay, so it will print it prints false, and hence it will print execute else part, and it will execute the else part and it will display file doesn't exist. Okay, now we can check using try and except also. Okay, so definitely we need two package OS and sys. Here first of all we have to enter the file name and check the file is there or not. If that particular file is there, it's no problem, it will print the content of the file. If the file is not there, it will create one exception. The name of the exception is what? Input output error, and it will print file not found. Okay, so we can execute it and we can just give my file dot txt. Yeah, it will check. Yeah, the file is there. So check that file, check the file. We want to check that particular file, and first of all we have to open it, and it will, the content of the file is this one, and it will print it, and it will definitely have to close it. Now if the file is not there, then it will print file not found. So we can do this one, and name of the file is a.txt. So file name is a.txt and file not found. Okay, so it will check, it will print the check the file, then it will try to open it, it will create an exception, and the name of the exception is input output error, and that it will print file not found. Are you getting? It's a very useful. So you can use this one or this one. Now display number of lines, words and characters present in a file. Suppose we want to read the, we want to display how many lines are there, we want to display how many characters are there, how we can do it. So here we have to enter the file name and we have to check if the file is there or not. If the file is there, open that particular file. If the file is doesn't there, we can exit. If the file is there, open file is there, so we need three variables. The three variables now, LNO, line number. In LNO we store number of lines, in WNO we store number of words, and CNO we store number of characters. So first of all, from the opened file we extract the lines. Okay, and once we extract the line, we have to increase the one number of line. We split. If you write line dot split, it will return the number of words, and if you put length dot words, it will return number of words present in that particular line. And definitely you have to update the WNO. And from, if you suppose a line is there, A B C D, then E F G H. Okay, so how many words are there? 2 words are there. And how many characters are there? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So I think it will include this one also. You can check it. Okay, so here we can see. So we can first we execute it, and definitely we have to print the content of the line, words, number of character, and definitely have to close it. Okay, execute it. Name of the file is say a.txt. So file doesn't exist, it will value error, it will print value error exception. And now better to give exact name. Suppose my file dot txt. So you can see file name is what? This one. Number of lines 3, number of words 11, number of characters 64. You can see here my file dot txt. Here 3 lines are there. Okay, and how many words are there? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 words are there. Acha, can we change it now? Instead of this one, you just write ABC space XYZ. Okay, so save it. So how many lines are there? 1 lines. How many words are there? 2 words. And we want to check how many characters are there. Okay, so we want to check how many characters are there. It is 6 or 7 or 8. Okay, save it, and we want to re-execute the same program, and it is my file.txt. We can see here number of lines word, number of words 2, number of characters 7. You can see output, number of lines 1, number of words 2, and number of characters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it includes the space also. Are you getting this one? Next, file with binary data. Okay, so definitely binary data means what? It handles photo, image file, audio file, video file. So definitely we can put the we have to put the file name. If you want to put the path of that particular file, definitely we have to put R. It is a we want to read it or write it. B stands for it's a binary data. So we can see here. First of all, already we have one file. Name of the file is myphoto.jpg. Okay, you can see the output. You can see it's a very nice photo, and we want to reload it. We want to create another file, image file, and we want to store that particular file. We want to copy that particular file. So first of all, we have to read the source file. We have to read the content of the source file, and we have to paste that particular content into the our destination file. So destination file is what? Duplicate photo.jpg. So source file is what? myphoto.jpg. Destination file is what? Duplicate photo.jpg. So here we can create duplicate photo of that myphoto.jpg. So new images, or you can say instead of write new image, you can write duplicate photo, duplicate image is stored. Duplicate photo is stored. And definitely we have to close these two files. And here you can see duplicate photo.jpg is not there. Okay, and if you execute it, we can get the output duplicate photo is stored. So we can put one stop sign, and we can see whether duplicate photo is there or not. Yeah, it is there. And if you open it, we can see the same image. Okay, next is handling CSV or comma separated value files. So do you know what is comma separated value? Suppose one file is there here, roll number, name, and branch is there. Here we want to put one name, say A, branch say computer science, roll number 2, name B, branch say civil. Okay, so if you put comma in between the value, then we can say it is CSV, comma separated value. Okay, if you put tab, if the spaces are there, we can say tab separated value. So if you put comma in between the values, then you can say it is comma separated value. Are you getting my point? So you just see the one program. So for storing data, retrieve the comma CSV value, CSV data. So we can see the data first. So we need the package import CSV. Okay, with open. Suppose we want to create a file student.csv. You can see a student.csv not present. Okay, and here we want to store the data. That's what is W. And a new line, every time it will create a new line. So first of all, we have to write the file into W, and we want to store the right row, roll number, name, branch. We need to store these three columns. Okay, we want to enter the number of students we want to store, and here we store the data. So here we input the information, roll number, name, branch using the keyboard, and we want to write right row. So right row means what? Inserting values inside the CSV file. So first of all, we insert the columns names, and after that we insert the content of that particular file. After executing this, it will print all the student data stored successfully. Okay, so this particular part is to store the data, and this particular part to display the data. So definitely, first of all, to display the data, first of all, you have to open it. Okay, after that, we have to read using reader function. We have to read it. Okay, and then we we read the content of that particular using the list. So if you write list, that means what? In content, it will store into the list format. And we can print it, you can print it directly. So instead of doing this one, what you can do, just execute this one first of all. So here we open it, we read it, and we just display the content of the file. So here we can write number of student, say 2, roll number 1, name Shiv, name is a Kareem, okay, and branch is CS. Roll number 2, name C2, name of the student is Sachin, and he is from civil. Okay, so here we can see the civil, all the data are stored successfully. So here, if instead of if, it will be better if you content, here we have to put the content, not the data. Okay, put the content and you can execute it. So here you can see all the data are stored successfully, and we want to re-execute it. So number of student 2, enter the roll number 1, name of this Kareem, branch say computer science, roll number 2, name say Sachin, and department is branch is civil. You can see all the data stored successfully, and the data is what? It is in list format. So the content, here you can see the output. Here you can see the output. Suppose we want to print it, we want to display it properly. So from that particular content, we just take the line one by one, and from that particular line, we extract the word and print the word with some tab and new line. Are you getting my point? So we can execute it. So better to this one and this one. Okay, acha, we can see our file also, student.csv. We can see the data, roll number, name, branch. You can see all the data here. In between the data, comma is there. So that's why it is called CSV, comma separated value. So once again we want to execute it. So the number of students, say 3. Okay, roll number 1, student name say Rani, and she is from computer science department. Roll number 2, and enter the name of the student, say name of is Swati, and she is from also civil. And roll number 3, name is Raj, and branch say mechanical. Enter it. All the data stored successfully, and the content of the file is this one. Roll number, name, branch. Okay, and here we can see the output, student.csv. Here 3 data are there, Rani, Swati, and Raj. Okay, so in this way we can store the CSV file properly. We can create another CSV file, and we can display the content of the CSV file. Next, zipping and unzipping files. So for that, to zip that particular file, we have to write. We need the package zip file, and we need all the component from the zip file. So here we have to write my zip file.zip, and here it is w mode, and zip deflated to zip the data, and to unzip you have to write zip_stored. Are you getting my point? So to zip a file you have to write zip_deflated. To unzip a data you have to write zip_stored. So if you execute it, so you just see here, first of all we have to write the name of that particular file, myfiles.zip. You can see here myfiles.zip is not there. Okay, first of all we have to create that particular file, and after reading that particular data, first we have to write, and we have to write that particular file. We have to insert that particular zip file, myfile.txt. So you see this one. Suppose my file name is myfile.zip. The file name is what? myfiles.zip. Okay, another file is there. This is what? myfile.txt. In that particular zip we want to store this particular file. In that particular zip we want to zip this particular file. So first of all create that if, and in that particular if we have to store that file name. Are you getting my point? So we can execute it. So if you execute it, we can say my file zip file created successfully. So you can see there my file.zip is there or not. Yeah, my file zip is not there. You can open it. Are you getting my point? Now we want to store more than one file. So how to do this one? So we can store file number 1 and file number 2 also. So definitely my file 1.txt we can store inside particular zip. Similarly, my file 2.txt we can store inside that my file.txt. In that case, we have to write same in the same fashion. F.write, F.write, F.write file name, F.write file name. Are you getting? And definitely you have to close it. Are you getting my point? Now, to unzip it, definitely we can see. So definitely zip underscore stored, and here we name list. It will return the number of files present in my files.zip. Okay. So here we have to call the function zip file, and we are passing two parameters: name of the zip file and mode readable and zip stored. And unzip file, it is an object, and if you execute if you execute the name list using that unzip file object, it will return number of files present in this particular zip file. Suppose name of the file is my file.zip. Okay, and here three files are there. So inside these files, it will store all the three files. Inside these files, it will print all the three files, unzip files. Okay, so here all the unzip files will store in this particular files, and if you want to print the content of the files, so we have to fetch one by one all the files. First file, print the name of the file and print the content of the file also. So if three files are there, it will print the name of the three files and the content of those three files. Are you getting my point? So inside the my zip, the content is what? My file.txt. Here abcxyz is there. And if you execute it, we can see the output. Yeah, the content of the my file.txt and the content is abc.xyz. Are you getting my file? So this is what, using this, we can zip and unzip the files. We can create zip and unzip. Achha, next, copy a file. Suppose we want to copy a content of the file to another file. So we need to import shutl, that is shell utilities, and we have to execute that particular function copy.file or method. Here we have to put original and target. So original file, we want to copy content from original to target. Then we have to write shutl.copy file, original file to target file. Okay, are you getting my point? Now we can see this one. So here definitely we have to import shutl first, and original file name is student.csv, which is already present. We can see student.csv, that file is already there. And we want to create another file name, that student new.csv, that is the target file. And what we have to do, we have to mention shutl.copy file, original to target. Okay, original to target. So first of all, it will create one file and it will transfer file from original to target. You can see here student.new is not there. Student is there, but student.new is there. So if you execute it, it will create another file, and if you read the content, we can get the same content. Okay, and definitely we can read the content of the file. So here content of the file is what? Student new.csv. So already we have discussed this particular part here. In this section we have discussed. Okay, that is the same line. Same few lines are there. So execute it. Okay, so we want to copy. We want to create new file, student new, and we want to store content of the student CSV. Execute it. So you can see the content of the file is what? Roll number, name, branch 1, 2, 3, Rani, Swati, Raj, CS, Civil, Mechanical. And you can see here student new, that is there, and here the content is same. Okay. So this is what our, so in this way we can copy a file from another file. Acha. One homework is there. Do you know what is the output of this? os.path.absolute path my file.txt. So create your file my.txt, and here you just import first, or before that you have to definitely have to import os. Then and only you can do it. Import os, and so you want to return, if you want to return your absolute path of that particular file, we have to execute this one os.path.abs path. It will return the absolute path. Okay, so execute it yourself. Okay, so that is the end of this particular file handling. Okay, now we'll discuss about directories handling or folder handling. So here we'll discuss about to know the current working directory, to create a new directory, to remove an existing directory, to renaming a directory, to list the content of the directory. And moreover, we'll discuss about pickling, unpickling, okay, and how to manage folders for machine learning programs. Now, to display the current working directory, so definitely for that we need to import OS package, okay, and here we have to write os.getCwd. It will return the current working directory. So if you print it CWD, we can get the current working directory. So we can do it. We can see here, if you execute it, we can get the current working directory. So C Purun user, this is what our Python file handling, this is what our current working directory. So we can see here, this is what our Python/file handling, this is what our current working directory, where file handling.ipynb is there. So this is what our current working directory. Are you getting my point? Okay, next we have to identify the path, relative path and absolute path. So path means what? Where that particular file or folder is there. Okay, where that particular, the location of the file or folder, we can identify with the help of path. The path may be the relative path or the absolute path. So the string like CWD that identifies a file is called the path. Okay, so C we have just seen, A, okay, B, C. Okay, this is called the path of that. That means what, in a C drive, there is a folder called A. Inside A, another subfolder is there, name is B. Inside B, another subfolder is there, C. Okay, and inside C, suppose a.txt file is there. Inside C, here a.txt file is there. So this is nothing but the path. Okay, so it's a string-like content. This is nothing but the path. So from the path, we can identify where that particular folder or file is there. Now, there are two types of path, relative path and absolute path. Absolute path start from the topmost directory. That means from C. So if you give details, then it is called absolute path. Okay, but if the relative path start from the current working directory. So if suppose here current working directory is what, C. So if it is like that, it is like that a.txt, that means this is nothing but our relative path. So this is what our relative path for a.txt. This is what our absolute path for our file a.txt. Are you getting my point? So to know the relative path, absolute path, we have the instructions. We have the so we have to import OS working directory. Definitely, we have seen os.get current working directory. Or suppose myfile.txt is there. We can see here one myfile.txt is there. We want to know the absolute path of that particular file. So how can do this one? We can. Next, we want to check whether it's a file or a folder. So os.path.exist. So we want to know whether this particular file is there or not. Is exist. So if it is there, it will return true. If it is not there, it will return false. So we want to check whether myfile.txt is there or not. Okay, so we can execute it. So we can see here in this particular here my file.txt is there. So if you execute it, you can get the output true. But if it is, but if no file.txt is not there, so if you execute this, so it will return false here because no file.txt, there is no file called no file.txt. Are you getting my point? Similarly, we can check that particular folder is there or not. New dir, new dir is there or not? So new dir is there. Okay. So what we can do? We can check it and we can get the output is true. That means what new dir is there in that particular path, in this particular current working directory. Are you getting my point? Acha. To check whether it's a directory or not. How to know whether it's a directory or not? So we can check it. So we can execute os.path.is directory. My file directory is a directory or it's a folder. If you execute it, it's a false. That means this is not a directory. Is dir? No, it's not a dir. It's not a directory. We have to check that os.path.is dir. So we can see here new dir. New dir is what? It's a folder. It's a directory. Okay. So if you execute it, we can get the true answer. That means yeah, new dir is a directory. Okay. Display the list of files in a current working directory. So definitely we need to import package. Then we have to fetch the current working directory and we can list it. So to list the file, what we can do, we just write os.listdir. Are you getting my point? So the output will be what? So you can suppress this right now. So if you execute, you can see these are the folder or files which are there in the current working directory. You can see here stu.txt is there. Yeah, it's there. Original file is there. Original file is there. New dir underscore one is there. Definitely new dir underscore on there. And this is what this name of this particular file. But here you can see .ipynb underscore checkpoints. This is what by default that will append in this particular directory. In every directory, once you create that particular directory, by default this particular part will include it. Are you getting my point? Okay. Next is what? How to create directory, subdirectory or subdirectory. How to create folder, subfolder or subfolder. So to create a subdirectory in a current working directory, suppose we are in the current particular directory, and here we want to create my sub. We want to here my sub is not there. Okay, we want to create a directory. So how to do this one? So to do this one, you can check import os, then os.makedir. It will create it, and we can print my subdirectory is created in current working directory. So if you execute it, we can get my subdirectory is created in current working directory. You can see here my sub is created. Definitely inside there nothing is there. So this is what in this way we can create one folder or directory. Now inside my sub we want to create my sub folder. So inside my sub we want to, here nothing is there. We want to create my sub. So how to create this one? So os.makedir. Inside my sub we have to create my sub. Okay, execute it and we can check my sub. Inside my sub now my sub is there. So in this way we can create subdirectory inside another subdirectory and so on, subdirectory. Create multiple directories like my sub1, my sub2 and my sub3. So here you just see the difference. Here it is mkdir, but here it is makedir's dirs. So in this case my sub is already there. In that my sub we want to create this one. Now in this case all three folders are not there. My sub1, my sub2, my sub3 all are not there. So what we will do, it will first create my sub1, then it will create my sub2, then it will create my sub3. So we can see here, we can check whether my sub1 is there or not. Now we can see here my sub1 is not there. Okay, so we can, if you execute it, we can see here now we can see it, my sub 1 is there or not. My sub 1 is there, inside my sub 2 is there, inside my sub 3 is there. Definitely. So this is what our path. So file handling, inside file handling, my sub 1 is there. Inside my sub 1, my sub 2 is there. Inside my sub 2, my sub 3 is there. Are you getting my point? Now, to remove a directory, suppose we want to remove a directory. So how to remove this one? So inside my subdirectory, my sub is there. I want to delete that particular directory. So how to do this one? We have to write os.rmdir. rmdir, then that particular part. My sub, inside my sub, we want to delete my sub. So if you execute it, we can see here inside my sub is not there. Similarly, we want to delete all. Are you getting my point? We want to delete my sub 1, my sub 2 and my sub 3 all. So how to do this one? So here you have to write remove dirs. So my sub 1, my sub 2, my sub 3. If you execute it, all three directories are removed. So you can see here my sub 1, my sub 2, my sub 3 all gone. Are you getting my point? Next, here my sub is there and new directory underscore 1. So actually here it is there. We can delete it. Is it okay to delete? Yeah, I can delete it. Now we want to rename my sub. We want to create my sub. So how to create that one? So this is what renaming the directory. So my sub is there or not? First of all, check my sub is there or not. No, my sub is there. We want to renaming it. So here we have to write os.rename. My sub should be new directory 1 underscore 1. So if you execute it, you can see here new directory underscore 1 is there. Okay, so this is what, in this way we can rename the folders. Okay, now next is to know the content of the directory. So if it is a current working directory, then we have to write like this way, os.listdir then dot. So it will print the content of the current working directory. Are you getting my file? Now suppose os.listdir. Suppose we want to know in original file how many things are, what are the things are there in original file. So here original file. So here you just write. Here you just write original file. Here we have to write original file. Original file. Okay, if you execute it, we can see list of files are a.jpg, 10.jpg, a.jpg, we can say 2.jpg, 3.jpg, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So total 30 figures are there. Are you getting my point? So this is what in this way you can know to know the content of the directory. Next, to know the content of the directory including subdirectories, we need to know all. We need to know inside directory A how many directories are there, say B, C, D. Inside C or B, inside D, how many directories or files are there. So to know everything, we have to write a program like this way. So we have to import OS package, and here from the working directory we need what? Directory path, directory name and file names, and we print directory path, directory names and file names. And if you execute it, we can get list. So current working directory is what? Dot. Okay, in that particular directory these are the files, existing files, and these are the directories, folder, and these are the files. Are you getting? Inside checkpoint there is no folder is there, but one file is there. It's automatic file. Inside new dir, no directory, no files are there, all are blank. Similarly in original file no folder is there, but list of files are there. Are you getting my point? So with the help of these instructions we can identify each and every content. We can display each and every part. How many directories are there, how many folders are there, and how many files are there. Now we'll discuss about pickling and unpickling of objects. So what is that? Pickling is what? Process of writing an object object state to a file. Unpickling is what? Process of retrieving an object state from a file. So to do this one, we need pickle mode, and for pickling we need dump instruction, and for unpickling we need loads instructions. Okay, so suppose one object is there. We want to note the state of the content of that particular object in a file. So this process is called pickling. So to pickle this, we have to write dump. Similarly, we need to fetch the content of the file into another object. Maybe another object or the same object. Suppose another object, obj1, o2. So in that case, it is called unpickling. Unpicking. How to do this one? Using load. Are you getting my point? So using pickling, we store state of the object in a particular file. Unpickling is what? Retrieving object states from a file and store into another object, same object or another object. So for pickling, we need dump instruction. For unpickling, we need load instructions. So we just see pickling and unpickling. Suppose definitely we need package pickle. We have to import it. We want to create one class. The name of the class is student. This is what our constructor or initialization. Here we store roll number, name, and address of any student. So next, this is what the method is there, that is called display. Here we want to display roll number, name, and address. So this is what class definition. So inside class, here this is what initialization part. This is what the one method is there. It displays the roll number, name, and address of that particular student. Now, this is the part for pickling. This is the part we use for pickling. Here we create one. Full file that is called stu.txt, and here we store and assume it is a binary, and here we store, open that particular file, and object of that particular file is f. Object of the file. Suppose here one file name is there. Name is what? stu.txt. The name is this one, and here object is what? F. My obj is nothing but the object of the class student. Object of the class student. Okay. So my obj is what? Object of the class student. So this is what our my obj. Here we store 101, roll number, name Sachin, address Mumbai. Pickle.dump my object f. That means what? We store the state of the object inside f, that is stu.txt, using the instructions. And we can display content of the object is stored into the file, and we can display we just call that particular display method to display the content of the student. So this particular part is the pickling part. Unpickling, this is the unpickling part. So first of all, we have to open it in read mode. We have to open it in the read mode. And here we write, suppose obj is another file. Obj is another file. And we load it. Now, instead of obj, you can write my obj. You can write my obj. Okay. Here also my obj. So after that, what you can do? You can load it. So inside my obj, we have to transfer the data from file to object. That's why here you need to load it. This is nothing but our unpickling, and we can display it. Once again, we can display it, and we can message is the content of the object is loaded from that file. So this is what our pickling part. This is what our unpickling part. Here we create the class, okay, and here this is the constructor, and this is what our method declaration. So we can see the output. We can see you can execute it. So if you execute it, we can say content of object is stored into the file 101 Sachin. So that means what? We are displaying this one, and this is what this particular part. And here you can see stu.txt is there. Practical example of file and folder handling. Okay, just see one example. Suppose here original file is there inside the file handling. So here you can see original file is there. Original file is there inside that particular file handling. We want to create one file that is called splitted file inside the file handling. And remember one thing, here we are using what? Absolute path or relative path? This is what our relative path. So it starts from the current working directory. So this is what our current working directory. Inside that current working directory, original file is there, which is already present. Okay, and definitely inside there few figures are there in JPG format. But here splitted file is not there. Okay, so this is nothing but our base directory, and here it is called original dataset directory. So this is what our original file. Okay, and it is called original dataset directory. Original dataset directory. We want to create another folder. Name of the folder is what? Splitted file. Splitted file. Okay, and here it is base directory. Assume it is a base directory. So we just create a variable and we store path of that particular relative path of that particular folder. If that particular directory is already there, if base directory is already there, then it will print the splitted file is already there. If the path is not there, that means what? The directory is not present. It will create base directory and it will print the splitted file is created. Are you getting my point? So you can see here, inside this particular base directory, first time splitted file is not there. So if you execute it, it will create the splitted file is created, and you can check it. You can see it. You can check it. The splitted file is already there. Initially, it is empty. Nothing is there. Are you getting my point? Achha. 1 second. If you execute, you can see the splitted file is already there. Definitely, just you have seen. Now, what we want to do? We want to create subdirectories. We want to create 3 subdirectories. What are? Train, validation, and test. Okay. So we want to create 3 subdirectories: train, validation, and test. So it will check if the train directory is there. If it is not there, create it. If validation directory is not there, create it. If test directory is not there, create it. Are you getting my point? So execute this particular part. So if you execute this particular part, we can identify all train, test, and validation. So insert splitted file. You can see here. So execute it. You can execute it. Okay, and we can see inside splitted file, test, train, validation, 3 folders are there. Are you getting my point? Okay. Now, after that, what we can do? We want to create. What we want to do? We want to create 2 more folders, subfolder. A and B inside train, A and B inside validation, A and B inside test. So you want to create some more folders inside this one. Say A, B, A, B, A, B. Are you getting there? So if A is not there, create it. If B is not there, create it, and so on. So first time you can see here, inside train directory, nothing is there. Okay. So if you execute this particular part of that particular program, it will create inside splitted file inside train. You can inside A and B, it is there. Inside train, it is there. Inside validation, A, B are there. So if you execute this particular path, we just create the whole A, B inside test, validation, and train folders. Now, question is how to create. Why should you create all this? So basically, for many classification problem or machine learning problem, data mining problem, if it is a two-class classification problem, we need to divide it to dataset into A, B. So if two classes are there, male, female, or cat and dog, true, false. So in that case, we have to divide it into two part A, B, A, B, A, B. Okay. Inside A, B, we need to put some files. Okay. Now suppose we have downloaded this particular of the program from the internet. Say maybe from kaggle.com, maybe from issue machine learning dataset, or various real datasets are there. So here suppose 30 data are there. So you need to fetch first 4 data, 1, 2, 3, 4 data inside A, then 5, 6, 7, 8 inside A of val, 9, 10, 11, 12 inside test, then 13, 14, 15, 16, and so on. So how to do this one? So within a curly braces dot jpg dot format I for I in range 1 to 5. So all the files, all 1, 2, 3, 4 files store into the f names. Pick up the f name one by one from the f names. Okay. So in this particular instructions, if you execute this particular instructions, what will do? It will transfer first 4 images inside this f names. Inside using for f name in f names, we just pick up one by one image and we identify the source and destination. If the source is true, if that particular if that particular file is there, copy file. This means transfer source to destination. So here source is what? Original file is the source. So from the original file, we have to train a directory. So from source to directory, you have to copy that one. So definitely in that case, we need shell utility package to do this one. Similarly, so this is what here inside the A directory. Similarly, inside the A directory of validation, we need to transfer 5 to 9, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are you getting this one? So initially, you can see here inside say train, inside A nothing is there. So if you execute it, you just see the lines properly. We are doing the same thing. Okay, we are doing the same thing for all the folders, and it's a repetitive one. Maybe it looks huge, number of lines are very high, but we are doing the same thing. You can see one by one. So here for the train A, we can take another say black color. For train A, we are transfer 1 to 4. For train validation A, we want to transfer 5 to 9. For test A, we need to transfer 9 to 12. Are you getting? Similarly, for uh, for for train B, you can see here. For train B, this is what our train B. So inside train B, we need to transfer 13 to 17, 13 to 16. Validation B, we need to transfer 17 to 21. That means 17, 18, 19, and 20. And in B, in validation B, you can see here in test B, this is what our test B. In test B, we store files 21 to 24. So 21, 22, 23, and 24. And every time we are transferring from original data set to test. B, test A, test B, validation A, validation B, train A, train B. And definitely here we are using a very important instruction, copy file, source to destination. So here source is what? This is what our source. This is what our source. And these are the destination. These are the destination. Okay. So we can execute it. So if you execute it, we can see here file handling, splitted file, train. Inside train A is there, 1, 2, 3, 4. All the files are there. We can see number 1 image. This is what our image, number 1 image. So we can see here inside the splitted, inside the original file, here number 1 is nothing but this one, same picture. Are you getting my point? Similarly, we can check others too. So splitted file validation B. So in B, you can see here 17, 18, 19, 20. You can see here 17, 18, 19, 20. Are you getting my point? So in this way, we can create it. So we can check it. We can check how many folders are there, how many files are there in each and every subfolder. If you execute it, you can see. In training A, 4 images are there. In training B, 4 images are there. In validation A, 4 images are there. So on and so on. Acha. Remove a folder with subfolder. Suppose here already you have seen. Just want to see once again. So here, suppose one file is there. Name of the file is splitted file. Here inside that subfolders are the inside folder. That subfolder and files are there. So to remove it, what we can do? We can create. Can we do this one? Remove dirs and splitted file. If you execute it, we can get one exception OS error. What is that? The directory is not empty. So first of all, we have to delete the subfile subdirectory. So first of all, we have to empty it. So it is not so to do this, what we have to first of all we have to delete A, all the content of A, then B, then we have to delete train, validation, and so on. So it's a tedious job. But at a shot, we want to delete it. So here we need what we need. We need this. We need to import a shell utility, and we have to use a shuttle.rm tree and name of the folder you want to delete. So if you execute it, we can see the folders with all the subfolders are deleted. We can see here. We can see a subfolder is not there. That name of splitted file is not there. So in this we can delete it. Are you getting? And that is the end of this particular video. Thank you very much.